So now, raise of hands, who knows Thread wallets? Has anybody ever heard of Thread wallets before? Okay, so for those that don't know, it's a unique wallet, just one wallet we've been selling for. I do. Well, that's not it.
It's just a slim.
Here, I'll pull it up. It's on the.
So we make slim elastic wallets.
So they just look like this. They're just, you attach your keys, your gym pass. We just do a lot of different designs. One thing that we saw in the marketplace was if you do a Google search for wallets, you'll see, at least for men's wallets, you just see a lot of black and brown wallets. And so I saw that and I thought there's a need for just some fun, more exciting, bring the wallet industry to life. So that's what we've started with this one product, and we're going to move forward with Thread wallets. But that's what it is. And so I'm going to tell you just our story and how we got started. So this is 2013. These two guys right here, they taught a class. They would just travel to school, to campuses, and they would teach about Kickstarter campaigns. And they had this little class that it was start a Kickstarter campaign within 24 hours. And this is when I was going to school in Hawaii. And so I thought, that's interesting. So I attended. And it's an all-day event, and by the end, you're supposed to be able to launch your campaign. So throughout that day, I was looking, okay, what am I going to do? What's my idea? And this is when I kind of came through wallets, and I said, okay, so now how do I actually pursue that? I have the concept, what I want to do, but now how do I make the product? Anyway, so I moved back. I wasn't able to really actually pursue it at that point in Hawaii, but I came back and they were teaching a class at BYU Provo that I got into, and throughout the semester, the class is you start a Kickstarter campaign and you do it with a group and you raise money. And the thing that I found out though was they take a percentage of the company. If you do well, they'll take a percentage of the company. So I was really hesitant to do an idea that I thought would actually do really well. So we just made up another project, and it was little computer laptop bags, but they look like a sleeping bag. And so we did that, and it didn't work. But then right at the end of the semester, I got a few of the guys that I was kind of noticing that were really talented, and we did this campaign. And this was, we didn't really push it that hard. I just wanted to get the product out there and kind of validate it. I think that's the best thing to do, is just to see what random people, how they react. Because if you have an idea in business, I'm sure all of you have had an idea. You share your best friend the idea. They're going to say, "Oh, that's a good idea," or your family, and they're going to support you, and they might give you false feedback. But random people, when there's money involved, they're going to tell you the truth. They're going to say, "I'm going to put my money down or not." And so Kickstarter was the perfect platform. So we did this first Kickstarter, and we raised what you saw, $8,400 or so. This is in Mckenzie's bedroom, and that's her dad laughing. So I needed to sew this project, right? The project that I'm sewing right now is the laptop case. Well, this is when we started dating, and I found out she had a sewing machine. So she lies and says that I was using her, which was only partially true. And so we created not only that, but then she sewed the first Thread wallet, that piece of junk right there. And it first didn't have the key ring holder, but she cut up one of her headbands and had the idea to do a little key ring holder. So now they're not elastic, but it's just a leather piece so you can attach your keys. So we got married. This was all within 6 months. We dated and we got married within 6 months. Really kind of swallowed our words on that. We thought we'd wait till at least a year before we got married, but that didn't happen. So we got married, and within 2 days of getting married, we moved to Hawaii. And I finished school out there. She was teaching out there. And we took a bunch of these Thread wallets with us, and we went to these farmers markets that the school hosted. And I think this is really when we both started to see the vision, because in Kickstarter, they're clicking, and you can't really see what they're thinking or what they're saying or where they're clicking and all that. But when they're right in front of you and they get to see the wallets, you get face-to-face feedback that was really valuable for us to see that there was a vision for it, that people actually wanted this product. It just seems so simple, just a piece of elastic sewn, and I just didn't know if people wanted it. But when we saw people buying these like crazy, we both started to jump on board. And at this time, I was about to graduate, so I could either choose, I was going to pursue professional soccer. I had a few offers, and then I was playing with the Monarchs, the Real Monarchs, and so I thought there was some potential there. I could also go, this is my dad, he owns a financial planning business, it's called BCJ Financial, and I could either go work with him, or we could start our own business, which at this point was Thread Wallets. So we decided to, obviously, choose Thread Wallets, but we gave it a timeline. We said, let's do just 6 months. Just push it as hard as we can for 6 months. If it's succeeding, then we'll continue. If not, then we'll reevaluate. So we decided to do Thread Wallets, and we moved back to Utah into our in-laws' home.
They're right there.
They're right up there. And they let us use their office, and we are eternally indebted for that. And this is also Mckenzie's bedroom. You can see there's some of our wedding gifts still just surrounding, and this is like the only little section. This little design Mckinzie painted for one of our wallets. I tried my hand at watercoloring and that didn't work. And anyway, so we started our business out of their home, and we started another Kickstarter, round 2, and we pushed it a little bit harder, and we raised $35,000, which was just a perfect amount of money to get us off the ground and get the ball rolling and gain a little bit more validation for the product.
So I'm sure you guys are asking, and we've asked ourselves too, like, why are we here? There's a lot of other companies out there, especially here in Utah Valley, that they've sold for millions of dollars and they can tell you how to do that. And we haven't built a multi-million-dollar company yet, and we're still working on that. But the thing that we can tell you is how to start. I'm sure you guys are all, if you're in this entrepreneurship lecture series, then I'm sure ideas are floating around in your head constantly. And that's something, we're not too far ahead of you. And so we can talk to you about where to start and how to get over some of the roadblocks that come up when you're starting a business. So we kind of wanted to walk through some of these, and I'm sure you guys are maybe thinking these things yourself, or maybe you have parents or siblings or maybe even some friends that sometimes tell you these things, and you're going to get people telling you why you shouldn't do things all the time, and that's the easy route, but it's harder to come up with all the reasons why you should do something. And so we just kind of wanted to walk through some of these with you. Someone might tell you, someone's already done it. You might think, I don't have an idea that's worth pursuing. You might think, I don't have enough money to start an idea. You don't know where to start. You might not know the skill. You might not know how to develop or do web design. You might not know how to contact China. And you might think you're too busy, or you've grown up with this A plus B equals C mentality. And you also might think, hey, this is too risky. I'm going to dive into this. So we just kind of want to break those down for you guys. So this first one, the idea that somebody's already done it, Cobly and I have seen that as a really, really good thing in business. If somebody else is out there doing something similar to what you're doing, the idea is validated. And for us doing wallets, if you go on Kickstarter right now, you guys all have your computers, there are so many minimalist wallet companies out there. But we wanted to be different than them and stand out in a different way. And so you can, if someone's already doing it, someone's already creating a product like yours, be different. Find a different brand, like branding, find a different demographic, find a different price point. Do something that makes you different. You don't have to be the first, you don't have to be the best, you just need to be different. So you might think, I don't have an idea worth pursuing. And I still think this about our product sometimes, this isn't an idea worth pursuing. We validated it enough, but it is a slim elastic wallet. And we're at the point now where we're going to be doing phone cases, and we've got other wallets products that are coming out. But let your ideas evolve and let them change, because just because you think that your idea isn't worth it right now, you don't know that. And like I said, we thought our idea was kind of silly, why would people buy this? But people do, and you can test that and just go with it, start somewhere. And the idea, okay, I might not have enough money to start. You don't need as much money as you think you do to start a business nowadays. You can have a website up and running and a product samples from China with a few $100s. So with all the resources around you, crowdfunding, Kickstarter, Indiegogo, you can go to family, friends, investors, you can get loans. There's here in Utah Valley, there's competitions constantly with UVU and BYU, and even up at University of Utah. There's business plan competitions and all of those things. And you can also trade equity for talent. So if you want to start an app and you know a developer, go to them and say, hey, I'll give you 10% of my company if you think this is a great idea, if you want to help get this off the ground. And the other, another roadblock is you might think, I don't know where to start. Other people do. Like I said, especially being here at UVU and in Utah Valley, there are people everywhere who know how to start. And they know where to start, and they can direct you and put you with the right connections. So utilize that as well as Google and YouTube, because you could type in on Google how to start a business, and you can find a lot of really great articles that would help you walk through that.
This goes in line with that one. I don't know how to fill in the blank if you want to do a tech startup or an app, whatever. I don't know how to develop or design. Well, first off, there are so many people around you that do, and there are people who not around you on Upwork.com, on LinkedIn, that you can find for fairly cheap, that you can utilize them. So utilize your networks. And then also, don't be afraid to actually learn the skill. I mean, we didn't know half of the things, more than half of the things that we're doing now. Marketing, social media. We had to learn Photoshop for all of our design, all of our prints, all of our email marketing. We had to learn how to run ads on Facebook, things like that. You just have to jump in and don't be afraid to learn. That's just kind of some, I'd say just common sense, but sometimes you just need a little push that you're going to have to be wearing a lot of different hats when you start a business, hats that you didn't think you were going to be doing. I mean, I never thought I would be doing accounting, but at the end of the year I have to pull out the books and figure that out, and that's a pain. But there's just a lot of hats that you have to wear, which is actually a benefit because then you get to learn all different aspects of business. I'm too busy. I think this is a dumb excuse because everybody's busy. I mean, you name it, we all have the same amount of time in one day. Yeah, you might have work, yeah, you might have school or sports or whatever. This is where it's going to require sacrifice or prioritizing. And for me, I wake up at 5:30. That's sacrificing a little bit of sleep. I don't stay up and work, but that might be you if that's kind of your schedule. And it might mean sacrificing going out and hanging with friends or whatnot. But you can just find the time. I just don't think I'm too busy is really good excuse.
You're only going to get busier.
Yeah, you're only going to get busier too. I mean, right now you're in school. I'm sure a lot of you are married. Maybe some of you have kids. But those things just get progressively harder and harder to start a business. So I'd recommend now is the time to just roll the dice. Find out if this idea that you've been brainstorming maybe for years is going to work. So right now, try it right now. Don't wait, because if you're going to wait till you have time, it's not going to happen. You're not going to have time later. The A plus B equals C mentality. This is basically you go to school, you get good internship, then you get into a good corporate job, and then you climb the corporate ladder. That's a way, and that's in a lot of professions, that's mandatory. That's what you have to do with, say, law or even medical. There's things that you have to do. But what we wanted to mention is that it's not the only way. So don't think that's what you have to do. Maybe that's what you've been fed from parents or friends and just being surrounded by it all the time. There's a different way, an untraditional way. And so to break out of that and really pursue a business yourself instead of the A plus B equals C. And then this kind of goes in line with that. It's too risky. When you validate, and have you guys heard this in business in this school, that you always have to validate the idea? That's like number one. Just don't waste years of your life and money to find out in the end that there's not even a demand for your product. That's what they're trying to teach you, and that's honestly at BYU. I don't know how many times I heard validate your idea. And that is what helps you manage the risk. Well, you can find out pretty dang quick on the internet. You can post it on Reddit and find out if that idea is worth pursuing or not in a matter of literally a day. On Kickstarter, it maybe take 30 days. But you can validate your idea, and that helps you manage the risk if it's worth pursuing or not. And then not only that, but it's all risky. If you go into, it could be medical even, it could be financial planning. We have 2 uncles that have lost jobs that were really valuable to the company, very talented people, and they, because of the economy, their employers have to let them go. It's all risky. It's just what risk do you want to take, I'd say.
Okay, so we just kind of wanted to point out the reasons why we've loved breaking out of the A plus B equals C mentality. And we love what we do because it's fulfilling. We get to learn all aspects of the business, which has been really fun for me because, like I said, I graduated with a degree in international peace studies. So learning business has been really fun for me, and I'm learning a lot of new skills, and I'm learning all aspects of business compared to just getting a job and learning customer service or something. We have more flexible schedule. We can work during the day, we can work at night, we can work on the weekends. We don't have anyone telling us when to be at work. We have no salary cap, which is nice. We're not making a ton, paying ourselves a ton right now because we're still only a year and a half into it, but the potential for growth is huge for us when it comes to our salary, and that's great. There's no creativity cap. We can be as creative as we want with our branding, our email marketing, our social media, whatever it is. We get to be the creatives behind that, and that's really, really fulfilling. And I don't have anyone telling me, hey, this is what you should be doing, or this is what it's just me and Cobly deciding what we want to do. And the other thing that's been really great about starting our own business, and I didn't know this coming into it, is the network of other entrepreneurs that we've been able to get to know, and they've become some of our best friends. We do stuff with them frequently. We're in similar positions in life when it comes to starting our business, and we're having a baby, and that baby will take the priority, take the cake. But right now our business has been our baby, and so it's fun networking with people who have that same passion and that same understanding. So we kind of wanted to just walk through some of the 5 main lessons we've learned from starting our own company. And the number 1 is to just get on base. Number 2 is to keep it simple. Number 3 is build and utilize your community. And number 4 is don't compare. And number 5 is have a vision. So we're just going to kind of walk through those briefly for you guys.
What do you guys think this means, just get on base? Is there any thoughts on that? What do you guys think? Yeah.
People don't see all the work that it takes to get on top, and so, for him, it took him years, but then people just see, oh, there's this guy, which is awesome.
Right.
That's not the case.
Yeah.
You can't score it until you get on base.
Yeah, exactly. Anything else? So for me, I think those are great. For me, I don't know if you guys know Garrett G. He's kind of a known name around these parts, but he started Scan and he sold it to Snapchat for $54 million. So I played soccer with him at BYU, and I was we would go on soccer trips, and he'd be meeting with investors in San Francisco. And when he was doing that, I was thinking, I could do what he's doing. I can do a tech company, and all I heard at BYU was tech company sold for billions of dollars. 2 years later, millions of dollars. And I just keep hearing all of these things about tech companies, and it's just this short period of time where they're making millions of dollars. Well, my young mind, I thought, that's what I want. I want just a quick buck, And so I was swinging for the fences, and I started an app that I thought, I wasn't making money with the app. I just thought I'd build up a user base and then sell it for millions of dollars a few years later, because that's what I thought was going to happen. That's what I was aiming for. I was swinging for the fences. When I realized after spending a lot of money and wasting a lot of money on that app that it's not about swinging for the fences, but it's just getting on base. And so for me, getting on base just means just get to first. You'll find your way at second, and just take it step by step. You'll find your way at third, and then home, and you'll score a point. And that 1 point for stepping on home equals just as much as hitting a home run, right? So for me, it was just kind of being it for the long term and not just the 2 years or the quick buck, doing a tech company or something like that.
So the next lesson that we've learned is to keep it simple. I pulled out this analogy the other day, and I thought it was pretty good, but it might not be. But I was thinking about how if you're a singer and you want to excel at being a singer, you can't be singing classical, opera, country, pop. You wouldn't get noticed if you're doing all those things. And the same thing applies in business. I see we talk to a lot of people who want to start a company. There was a girl that we met the other day, and she had so many ideas. So many ideas. She was like, I want to start this thing, and then I want to do this, and I want to do this with it, and I want to do this with it. And Cobly and I just were thinking there is so much power in keeping it simple. If you can just find a niche and stick with it, then your chance at success is going to be so much greater because you're not spreading yourself too thin. I don't know if Cobly mentioned this earlier, I forgot. Some of our greatest business idols and the companies that we look up to are companies started by Sean Neff and Rick Alden, which is like Skull Candy, Neff Headwear, Stance Socks. All of those companies picked a niche and stuck with that. They stuck with headphones, Oakley sunglasses, stuck with socks, until they had grown to a point where they could introduce other things. And so keep it simple. Your operations, your employees, everything that you have going on, keep your company simple. Don't try to overcomplicate things because you'll get spread too thin and you'll find yourself underwater really quickly.
Oh, whoops, I think we both hit it. Oh, this is all you.
Okay. So the other thing is, one of the next things that we've learned is how to build and utilize your community. And I don't need to dive into social media and the importance of social media when you're starting your business, because I'm sure you guys are all on Instagram and you all know how to use it. But something that we've found and something that you're going to need to learn as an entrepreneur is how to connect with your audience and how to connect and build that community. Because you need to be able to convert virtual customers into real life customers. They might see your brand and follow it, but how do you convert them to being a paying customer? And so knowing how to interact with your customer is really, really important. And our following on Instagram isn't huge, but we have a pretty engaged following because we've gone in it for the long haul. Like Cobly said, just get on base. I see a lot of people who have an idea and they'll go out and follow 10,000 people on Instagram at a time, and then they'll just get follows for follows. And those people it's better to have quality over quantity, right? You want people who are actually going to be aware of your brand and your product and your company and your movement, whatever you're doing. So just the importance of knowing your community and knowing how to engage with them, which on Instagram we did an event last month, and just from an Instagram post, it was like a little meet and greet kind of thing, and we were able to pull over 200 people there just from one Instagram post because of that. And so that's knowing how to connect with your community.
This was interesting. I didn't know this. Forbes rated Utah #1 state for business and careers, and it's 3 years running. And there's so many reasons why, but for me and for Thread Wallets, it's helped us because so many people come to Provo, BYU and UVU from out of state, out of the country even, and they get an idea of products and lifestyle or whatnot, and then they take it back home, and then it just starts to spread in those areas. And that's what's helped us with Thread Wallet. So I think utilizing Utah specifically is really, really cool that we have such a huge network. This is just a list of some of the big companies that are in Utah, or have a presence in Utah at least, that we have access to. They're just right at our back door. And then at the bottom, plus 57,000 small businesses. That's right at our fingertips as well. Do you want to
So just to kind of emphasize that point of the power of being here in Utah Valley and starting a business here, these are just a few reviews that we had from a few customers that had come to Utah. She says, I'm new to Utah, and when I heard about Thread Wallets, it was a gift that I had to share. The 2 that I just ordered are for my friends back at home. So she bought them, she came here, and she shipped them off to her friends. And you will see, if you can look at our analytics, you'll see little pockets of people who in Texas or Arizona, California, New Jersey, certain places where a few people have gotten the wallet and then it just starts trickling. And that's because, I would say in large measure due to the fact that we've started it here and people have taken it other places.
This is Michael Phelps in this past Olympics. Have you guys seen this? That was funny. Winners focus on winning, losers focus on winners. This is such a big, for me and Mckinzie, I don't know if maybe more for me, but when you start to obsess on competitors or start to compare yourself and look at other people who are a little bit above you or even below you, but just starting to compare and obsess over that, it really starts to bring envy and stress. And I've learned that it's important to just not compare, just like Michael Phelps right here. He's just staying in his lane. He's focusing on him and him only, and that's what makes him a winner, you know? And I think for me, this happens with Thread, this happened with PickPlay, but just PickPlay was the app that I started when I was kind of comparing myself to Garrett G. And that was what I was like, I wanting to keep up, you know? And that, in the end, ruined me. So now that I've kind of been able to relax, stop following certain brands or people on Instagram or any social media, and just focus on us, it's been really, really nice. I think it's been like such a stress reliever. And then this is, oh, go ahead.
An important quote that we love that we always turn to when it comes to don't compare is don't compare your beginning to somebody else's middle, or don't compare your middle to somebody else's end. So just focus on what you're doing, like Cobly said, stay in your lane and take what you're doing and learn and grow at the rate that you need to be doing.
This is Steve Jobs. What's a presentation without a Steve Jobs quote? If you are working on something exciting that you really care about, you don't have to be pushed. The vision pulls you. That's pretty self-explanatory. I don't necessarily need to go in depth about vision, but just for us, having the vision has helped us get through any struggle, any roadblock that comes. It's like you don't even really see it. I mean, they come and you just do whatever it takes to get over that because you have the long term in mind. And I think that's really what's helped us, is just the vision of where Thread wants to be. And for you guys, just so you know, we want Thread wallets. When you think of wallets, you think of Thread, just like you do with socks now. With Stance, you think of socks, you think of Stance socks, or Neff headwear, right? We want to become that in that kind of niche, that lifestyle brand for wallets. That's our vision. And so early on when we started, I would tell people, I said, when we first started, I said, I want to get a product into Urban Outfitters. And that was our goal. That was like our vision. And so I would tell people, anytime they'd ask me about business, I say, well, you're going to see our product in Urban Outfitters in a few years from now. And I would tell people that, and I think it's important to tell people your vision, because then they'll hold you accountable, and you have to kind of hold yourself accountable. I think it's important to really share not only your vision, but your ideas, because it kind of motivates you. It keeps you going on a good pace. Oh, that's it. And is there, yeah, thank you. So do we do, is Mark's gone, are we doing Q&A a little bit? Okay. So we'll do a few questions, and if we think it's a good question, then we're gonna make sure you guys get a Thread wallet from us. We don't have any today, but we'll get some to Mark.
We're gonna mail them to you.
Okay. All right, any questions? Yeah.
So obviously you started with farmers markets, but after that, what was the next marketplace you moved to, like eBay, Amazon, and what has been the most successful market for you? Your website or?
So right after the farmers market, we launched the Kickstarter.
Okay.
That really helped us because it hits a lot of people outside of your own network. You know, if you start to stay too local, you get maybe a skewed, but with Kickstarter, you're just hitting so many different people. That helped us, but I've heard Amazon's really good. We were on Amazon and they do well. We just couldn't, with production the way that it was, we just couldn't keep up at that point in time. And then also, a lot of our transactions, we don't focus heavily on retail, mostly our own store online, our threadwallets.com, and then we drive traffic through social media. That's mainly our what do you call it? Like revenue. Source of revenue.
So you got $35,000 on Kickstarter. How do you succeed on something like that? How do you get on Kickstarter and not just let it $0, just let it flop?
So with Kickstarter, her question, I don't know if you guys heard her, was how do you have a successful Kickstarter? How do you run a successful campaign? Kickstarter is growing. I mean, the first few times that we've done it, it's grown since we even went on it. So there's going to be a lot of products on there, and you have to find a way to stand out, right? And something that I think a lot of people think is you throw together a video, put some nice pictures together, you put it up on Kickstarter, and it runs. But before we launched our Kickstarter, we had hours and hours and hours and hours of preparation. We had reached out to, I don't even know how many bloggers and influencers to post about our product during the campaign so that their following would see it and know, hey, where do I get that? And then they could direct them to our Kickstarter. But we also did a lot of just asking friends and family, which is, like we've talked about, utilize your network and your community. We reached out to probably like every friend on Facebook, and we were like those annoying people asking them to do things. But we just said, will you share our video? And so all leading up to the Kickstarter, we were asking all our friends and family to share the video. They didn't even have to back us, they didn't have to put money down on the idea, but we wanted to share it. Because the more shares you can get on your Kickstarter campaign, the more views you're gonna have, and then hopefully that will translate into backers, which is money.
Also, to answer that, has anybody heard of Funded Today? They're a business that specializes in helping Kickstarter campaigns reach their goal. And what they do is they do all the marketing behind, because a lot of times people think that's like all you do is just put your product up there and then people within Kickstarter will see it. That's actually skewed. That's not what happens. The companies that you see raise millions and millions of dollars via crowdfunding, they're running ads on Facebook. They're running ads on Pinterest and Twitter. So there's a company called Funded Today. You can look them up. That's what they specialize. They help Kickstarter campaigns, and so that's who we use, and they helped us reach our goal.
They don't take you on as a client until you've reached your goal. And so we reached our goal within the first day, which was all in part due to the fact of all the preparation we've done leading up to the Kickstarter.
Yeah.
First off, I just want to say it's super cool that you guys are a power couple.
Oh, thank you.
My question kind of piggybacks off of that. My wife is a school teacher. She was raised in a house where her dad climbed the corporate ladder, and so she does not see eye to eye on the entrepreneur drive that's in me, which I was raised in a house with a father who was a small business owner, so I get it.
Yeah.
So what advice do you have for someone
For her?
Yeah, exactly.
You put her on speakerphone?
Yeah.
Oh, quick.
I kind of grew up in that same background. I mean, my dad is very, very supportive of all my ventures. He's up there. But he is a financial planner. He did the A plus B equals C mentality kind of job. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. But the advice that I think, like we said in our presentation, that I would give your wife is life is risky. Like, we would rather be in charge of our own destiny, even if it was making less money than having someone be in charge of us, you know what I mean? And hopefully that means that we will be making more money in the future. But like I said, I have two uncles who were in their career field for 20 plus years, working as a bank manager and as a medical sales rep. And they were doing great, and they both got laid off. And so it's like life is risky in and of itself, and so why not be the one that like manages your own risk instead of being at the mercy of somebody else.
Just one quick comment. I think you're at an advantage with that because now you have to prove to your wife that something will work out. And I think if you start to just do something and maybe just it's part-time, maybe it's just on the side, you're going to put everything you have into that, right? You're going to make sure it succeeds so that she jumps on board. So you're kind of, because you're pinned, you almost have an advantage. You have to prove yourself. So I think that's cool. Like, prove to your wife that you can do it and that it's going to work.
And I think I'll just add this really quick. My dad is awesome. I love him to death. But I think when we started out, we were in his office, we were living in the house. I think he was kind of like, what the crap are they doing? Like, they're sewing together a last. Yeah,
That is the truth. I mean, and I didn't mean to do this, but when they were there and they started the idea, I thought, this wallet is not going to do anything. I mean, I'm the A plus B plus C mentality. That's me. But I saw them, and the story that they told you is 100% correct. They started, I saw them work at it, I saw them work things out, I've seen them go through challenges. So what they are telling you, whether you start a business or not, I'm an outside observer, I have no skin in the game, nothing. I just watch them take an idea, put it on paper, and it's pretty cool that now, when we're with them, they have their phone, I hear this little beep going off of them. zing, 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 as sales were coming in. I mean, it's just like, I was going, holy cow.
Yeah.
I actually, holy crap.
So he was pretty skeptical.
I was
He-
so skeptical that I wasn't
But-
even on my radar. They ran into that.
But like Colby said, you kind of use that as ammunition to say, well, we've got to prove these people wrong. Like, we have all our pride on the line. We have all of this on the line. Like, we have to make this work. Thanks, Dad. And thanks for the question.
I don't know what you guys' growth is right now and what it was and what you're projecting that it's going to be in the next year or the next quarter. But when you're in a position of low purchasing power, when you're not in a position of, when you're still growing but you're not a big player in your niche market yet,
Right.
how do you approach negotiations for distribution of your products? You mentioned Amazon earlier, and Amazon can be great, but let's say you sell the wrong kind of product, like it runs on electricity. Well, then it doesn't become 6% that Amazon takes. It turns into more like 30% that Amazon takes out of sales.
So,
So-
who are you trying to negotiate, like in Amazon?
Well, not necessarily. I'm just saying, you can look at other distributors like Amazon or other things like that. How do you approach negotiations, or how do you prepare to approach negotiations with distributors to increase your growth when you're in a position of low purchasing power?
We've been our own distributors from day one. We, like I said, most of our source of revenue is from our website, and we drive traffic through social media.
Right.
And then we're growing retail. So I don't know if you have I don't know what product you're talking about, but if you have the margins to enter and sell wholesale, for us, we do. Our product seriously is less than $2 to make, and we sell it for $15. We can afford going to retail stores, and it's just cheap for us. So I've never dealt with an expensive product that has slim margins. So I don't know if I'd be able to answer your question in that. I'm not the know-it-all. I just know thread wallets, and that's it. So.
All right, thank you.
Yeah. Does that? I mean, is there any way that helped at all?
I was just wondering how you approach a distribution negotiation if you were to do that. I don't know if you had or hadn't.
I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if we'll ever have to, because wallets have such a high margin, and
Yeah.
so we don't. And low cost. If we do have something with a defect, they throw it out. We're out a few dollars. That's it.
Yeah.
So I don't know. Sorry.
My question was so you started making the wallets at first yourselves. Are you still making, who produces the wallets, and how did you get to that point from finding the people to make the wallet?
That's man. If I could go back in time, that's what I would change right off the bat. Is we've been producing wallets from day one, and we are still. I literally have my hands on every single wallet, and it's unfortunate that it's like that, and it prevents us from growing at a pace that we would want to. But now that we are outsourcing to China, I can tell you, I've worked with a third-party company that kind of played the middleman to China. They claim that they spoke Chinese, and that's why they needed us. They do quality control in China, and that's why we needed them. But after dealing with them for almost a year now, and it's just gone so slow, that I've taken it into my own hands on Alibaba, and I just go and find a similar product that I would need, contact them, give them a tech pack, meaning all of the specs of our product and everything, and I communicate with them. They all speak English. There's middlemen. Don't fool yourself into thinking that China doesn't know English, because they do, and not everyone does. Yeah, it's broken. It's kind of funny, but there's middlemen over there that work with the factories. So go on to Alibaba if you have a physical product and contact someone that has a similar product like that and start to work with them. You know what I mean? That's how I would do it. And so we've done that with, we have a phone case, a leather bifold, a card holder, and a lanyard that are all coming out within the next 6 months. And we've outsourced those through China, just that same way.
Oh, thanks.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is most of your market college students, or is it just all over the board? And also, do you mind if I ask, how many wallets have you guys sold this year?
This-
Oh my gosh, I wouldn't know how many.
This year, we've probably sold. Let me do the math. She'll answer your question on the other thing, and I'll do the math.
What was the question? The previous question?
I was just curious about your market, if it's college students or if
I would
little
say that
kids
the majority, our age demographic is between 18 to 25. But if you go online and look at some of our reviews, it's, I bought this for my grandpa. Or if we're at markets, or selling, or at pop-up shops and stuff, we have every age purchasing from us, whether it's 13-year-old or 65 years old. And so that there's a wide variety of people using our product, but our main demographic would be like 18 to 25-year-old, like the college age student, late high school.
So I just did the math. We're about 15,000 wallets to date, and the luxury of our product is we can customize wallets. So we just got a large order. We did a Vivint order of a couple thousand wallets for their sales reps, and then we just did, I don't know if you guys have heard of Chubby's. We got a large order from them. So a lot of the distribution, like the number of wallets I just gave you, isn't at a retail cost. It's at a wholesale price. So we cut it in half for them. But that's about how many units we've sold this year so far. And then obviously fourth quarter is coming up, which is the best for our product's good for stocking stuffers. So we project to have a really good fourth quarter. Yeah.
You talked earlier about how like this one lady bought some for her friends, and then you noticed the area started getting popular. Going along with promotions, have you guys considered maybe somebody posts on their Twitter feed or whatever, and then they get 5 or 10% off, and then all their friends kind of see it?
Yeah.
And kind of that way.
Affiliate
marketing. Yeah, we have, and I think that would be huge for us, because that is one of the biggest ways. I mean, people, when you ask them, hey, where did you hear about your Thread wallet? It's, oh, my friends had them, and we get emails like that all the time, but we just haven't set it up yet.
We are looking into that though.
Yeah.
I think it's a really smart way, especially for product based, physical product. Yeah.
So I'm also an aspiring entrepreneur, and I'm finding out that it takes a lot of work to get something going. I'm just wondering, what have you two had to sacrifice to make this dream a reality?
Well, I mean, I don't know if you couldn't tell by that picture, but we lived with my parents for 7 months in my childhood bedroom and shared a bathroom with my 2 brothers, which isn't necessarily ideal when you've just been married for 3 months. So, some awkward situations. But that was a sacrifice, and I think our time, and I think especially in today's world, you see a lot of people wanting to live on Instagram, right? I mean, we talked about the comparing. You see everybody, young entrepreneurs who have these amazing lifestyles, and they have nice fancy cars, and they're traveling a lot. I think that's something that we've had to sacrifice. We share one car, the 2 of us, and we live in it's a cute house, but it's a tiny little house, and we probably won't be prepared to buy for a while, because we are, we're not paying ourselves heavily. And so I think some of the sacrifices are those not the luxuries, but the stability that you get when you're in a 9-to-5, a solid salary, all those different things, healthcare, and all those things that are provided, we kind of sacrifice those.